Hello and welcome to the pregame show. Jet Saints coming at you in just a little bit. I'm Matt O'Leary, joined as always by my good friend Connor Long. Connor, how goes it, my friend?
Matt, I am doing well. Yes, last week's game, excuse me. I mean, do we even need to talk about that? It feels like it was a year ago, and I think that's for the better.
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. A pretty embarrassing performance that the Jets put out there. So much so that it got Steve Wilkes fired, and I haven't spoke to you since then. But I think that's a good place to start for this game.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any expectations for Chris Harris going into this?
If they could hold Tyler Shuck to under 25 points, I'd be thrilled. I mean, I think that's what I'll say. Look, it's a tough situation that he's placed in, right? We've heard so many players, and we heard Quincy Williams tell ESPN's Rich Cimini earlier this morning about, the scheme was too complicated. And Quincy actually told that to the broadcast team, Matt. I don't know if you caught that when listening to the game, but that's something that really struck my attention. And he echoed that in an interview with Cimini. But how does that make sense, right, Matt? That was my first thought. Last year, the Jets had so much more talent on their defense, and obviously with Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich leading the way. Why would the scheme be so much more complicated all of a sudden with less talent? Like that's something that didn't make sense to me, coupled with his schematic stubbornness and the fact that, look, players weren't trying hard on defense. It's easy to point that out. There are players who Steve Wilkes was not getting to play for him. A change needed to be made. Aaron Glenn did just that. And look, I think this is a promising sign for the future of Glenn. He is admitting that he made a decision moving on instead of doubling down. So overall, I think the bigger picture thing is this is a promising sign for Aaron Glenn's future as a head coach in this league.
Yeah, I hard to disagree with anything that you just said, and I'm glad you mentioned the effort because I don't want to spend a ton of time on the Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You have 48 points and you lose 48-20. Not a good day, right? But the effort was so questionable, and two plays stand out to me. One was the Trevor Lawrence run for a touchdown, and the other was the one of three Travis Etienne touchdowns, the dump off on the screen pass that he just took into the end zone. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this doesn't look like an NFL defense. And it got to an embarrassing level. And I get it. We've talked about it for weeks, Connor, how isn't a good roster. And I know they have issues on the defense and they have to improve on the defense, the draft and free agency, the whole thing. Totally fair. Understand. At the same time, still an unacceptable effort.
You can't allow 48 points, Matt. Like literally, they made Trevor Lawrence look like Tom Brady. That's exactly what happened. Every single possession. Jacksonville scored on 8 of their first 9 possessions. And you know what? I'm going to give credit to Brady Cook because was he great? Absolutely not. Did he keep the team in the game earlier on? Sure. His defense gave him no help whatsoever, and he was still doing his thing. So I give credit to Brady Cook for his ability to stay in the game and keep his head locked in no matter how poorly the defense was playing. So props to Brady Cook on that 1,000%.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, right? And I think Brady Cook has played to about what my expectation is. The interceptions have been there, and that's kind of, to me, like what I expected, right? This is a guy who's making his first career start going up against a defense that was second in the NFL in turnovers. That was kind of what happened. But if you're going to go down swinging, and at least that's what Brady Cook is doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy for Brady Cook again. I think we saw a lot of improvement on Sunday against Jacksonville than we saw 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins. So that's certainly an area to be excited about. I think you could say in a sense with Cook is you're seeing improvement week in, week out. Now, Matt, I've already heard fans say, oh, I'd be okay having Brady Cook suit up as the team's QB2 week 1 next year. I'm not going that far. I'll tell you that right now because that means one of two things. That means the Jets didn't draft a quarterback at all, or the Jets didn't bring in a veteran at all. You can't afford to do that. So I think the Jets just need to rebuild this quarterback room in the offseason. I don't know if Tyrod Taylor is going to come back. I think what you need to do is again tear it down, completely rebuild it, get a rookie in here, whatever round you may take him in. And here's the thing, Matt. At the end of the day, this draft class is weak. people can get excited about Dante Moore's performance against JMU. People can get excited about Ty Simpson's performance against Oklahoma. This QB draft class is one of the worst that we've seen in recent years.
I don't know if I would go quite that far.
You think it's better than last year's?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And more than Shedeur Sanders and Tyler Shuck? I would say yes.
I mean, both those, Shedeur Sanders and Tyler Shuck are both starting quarterbacks. They've both led their team to a fair amount of wins. Cam Ward, you can't really fairly assess him. He hasn't been in the right situation. For me, what I loved about last year's draft class was at QB was the depth. You could get guys in the 5th, in the 6th round. This class has no depth, really. It's Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, who we don't even know 100% will come out. Jada Mayava went back to school. Lenora Sellers, Darian Mensah from Duke. I like Mendoza. He's good in my eyes. He's not great. He is like Cam Ward to me. I don't think he changes a franchise. I think Cam Ward is a higher ceiling than Mendoza. That's a conversation for another day. I just don't think this draft class is as good at quarterback in particular as people are making it out to be, which is why I understand why fans are rooting for this team to tank, because they want to get Mendoza. They want to get the top quarterback. Again, I don't see any quarterback in this class who I look at and say, wow, they are really going to change the trajectory of this franchise for good.
I hear you on that. And that's your evaluation of the quarterback class. And everyone's going to have different evaluations on it. And, there is a lot of big names hanging around for 2027. And, Arch Manning will likely come out, Julian Sayin, and then all the guys who are going back this year who will be coming out next year, like, a Sellers or if Dante Moore goes back or whoever else, right? But, next year, we don't know what the tape's going to look like next year. There was a lot of talk last year that 2026 was going to be the better quarterback class. And now everyone says the 2026 quarterback class stinks. So
I agree.
I don't think we really know the answer. And also, too, not for nothing, but I don't think, and I'm not saying Fernando Mendoza is either one of these two guys or three guys that I'll bring up, but I don't think anyone was really talking about Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson as these franchise-changing quarterback prospects either, because none of them were the first quarterback that was taken in their draft class.
That's certainly fair. And again, there's so much more that goes into this pick. I think they need a legit quarterback coach. I wrote it up earlier this week. They need to fire Charles London. They need to get a poised offensive staff in here, Matt, who can really develop this quarterback. Look at Caleb Williams and look at what we just saw him do last night against the Green Bay Packers. He was terrible his first year, but it was not his fault. He had no offensive line. He didn't have any viable weapons. He had a defensive-minded head coach. He had a highly inexperienced offensive staff. Now this offseason, the Bears built an offensive line. They got him more surrounding weapons. They brought in the new head coach in Ben Johnson, who's an offensive mastermind. Again, I think the biggest thing for the Jets this offseason is going to be free agency. I think really how they plug these holes on defense and the weapons that they might want to add around this quarterback will really, really determine their future. So, Matt, I'll ask you this with today's game, because we just kind of spoke about the draft class, weak or strong, however we may want to view it. Are you rooting for this team to lose today?
It's probably better for them to lose today. Like, I'm not going to be like, if, Brady Cook drops back and gets sacked, I'm not like clapping. I'm just kind of watching. I'm not really rooting one way or the other, but I'm fully acknowledging that at this point, it's likely better. Not likely. It is better for this team to lose games, especially, New Orleans, they're 4-10 right in the mix with the Jets. Jets has a 5 pick. New Orleans has the 8 pick. On top of that, I think you're rooting for Tennessee to beat Kansas City. You're rooting for the Raiders to win their game against Houston. That's obviously going to be a tough one. Big one in 2 weeks. Giants against the Raiders, but we're scoreboard watching and just rooting against the teams in front of the Jets, and obviously rooting against Indianapolis, who continues to drop games here.
What are your thoughts on the argument that I've heard some Giants fans put out that if Fernando Mendoza and number 1, if the Giants finish with the number 1 overall pick, they should take Mendoza and trade Jackson Dart?
Is that a serious thing? I thought
I've heard it.
Like
I was listening to crazy. WFAN the other day, so I don't know how serious they are, but they were like, that was literally a segment they had. And I've seen some Giants fans talk about. I think that is absolutely hilarious from Giants Nation.
Yeah, Jackson Dart, I think, has looked pretty good. They just gotta calm him down a little bit. I think he puts himself in harm's way a little bit too much. But if they reel that in, I think he could be a good player.
Absolutely, Matt. What is the biggest thing I think you're looking for today? Obviously, beyond draft position, is there any player that you're looking forward to watching offensively, defensively? I mean, for me, it's just how this defensive unit performs cohesively. Their first game without Steve Wilkes.
I guess can Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald show a pulse? All right, it's been very quiet for the two of them over the last few games. So I guess that would be what I'm watching for in this one for the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of guys that aren't playing in this game, and I know offensive side, but Garrett Wilson officially shut down. Not that was crazy surprising to hear that, but we're it's going to look like a preseason game over the next three games. You have New Orleans, you have Buffalo, you have New England, not in that order, switch New England and Buffalo, but point remains over the next three. It just feels like they're a team that's running out the clock to get to the offseason.
Absolutely. And there's only 3 games left. I think something to keep in mind here is these come against 2 really good teams in the other 2 matchups. Of course, the Buffalo Bills being one of them, and then they close out the year in Buffalo, and then the Patriots next week. So it's going to be intriguing to see how this defense handles 2 really, really good offenses in the coming weeks. Obviously, the Saints aren't a unit that you really want to be fearful of, although they had a great game last week, and ultimately Chris Olave won me my fantasy league. I had like a 30% chance of winning, and then Chris Olave, baby, comes back and wins me the game. Look, I'm looking at the Saints right now. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Panthers, and that's 2 of their 4 wins. They're on a 2-game streak. This is the team that's relatively hot, and look, they can get a win today. And I think Jet fans would be excited about that for the most part. However, after we saw the Miami loss, a lot of it is the teams ahead of the Jets. Do they lose? Because look, if the Jets maybe lose today, but also the Browns find a way to lose, and teams like that are in that same territory as the Jets. You could throw the Titans in there, the Cardinals, same record as the Jets. A lot of it is, I think, how the teams around them perform. And then obviously in the last 2 weeks of the year, a lot of fans are going to be focused on strength of schedule. So I think the biggest thing right now for the fans who want to trade up for Fernando Mendoza, I am not someone who wants to do that, but for the fans who do want to trade up for Mendoza, again, I understand why you're rooting the tank, because you want to give up as little as possible to go ahead and move up for him. So the draft talk is at an all-time high. And I didn't think, Matt, that we'd be talking about a Jets team winning under 5 games this year. I think the possibility of the Jets winning 5 games this season is pretty low.
Oh, very low. And, you look at it in New Orleans, just bringing it back, like their defense has played a lot better, since they lost to the Rams in early November. Their defense has allowed 7, 24, 21, 20, and 17 points over that stretch. And, Tyler Shuck's just doing enough for them, right? They won a game 17-7, 24-20, 20-17. They kind of play these low-scoring, tight games, and he does enough for them to win. And they've looked, significantly better after their, brutal start to the year. They've won 3 of their last 5 games, and they have a couple more winnable games to close out their year. They have the Jets, then Tennessee and Atlanta before their season comes to a close. So I think they're looking at it as, some games that they could win, and hopefully for their side, they're rooting for Tyler Shuck to continue to show if he's the guy or not.
If you want to make a prediction, where do you think the Jets finish in the draft order?
I think they lose out, and I think they will end up picking 4th in the draft.
4th. So behind who? Giants, Raiders, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Cleveland moves down below them. That'll be my prediction. Is
Shedeur Sanders the guy? Do they build around him that? You don't think so?
I'm not a Shedeur Sanders believer.
Wow.
He his one good game was against Tennessee, who's horrible. And he's struggled against every other team that he started with. We'll see how their season ends, right? Like, what's the Browns schedule to close? I know they have Buffalo today. Good luck. And then they have the Steelers, and then they have the Bengals. So, maybe they win one. I mean, I'm hoping they win one of the next 3
Mhm.
games. But if any, I would think the Bengals one is probably their best shot to win against that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's their best shot of winning a game, and by that logic, they would finish as a 4-13 team, which again would impact the draft order significantly for today's game. Do you think the Jets come away with a win, Matt? On the road, they're underdogs. I just don't see it.
And they got to prove me wrong at this point.
Yeah.
It's like when earlier in the year where they started 0-7, and there's a couple games where I picked them to win, and then I just kind of hopped off that wagon. I was like, you know what? I'm not picking them to win until they start to prove it. And I just think with how banged up they are, they're starting a UDFA rookie quarterback. And, looking, New Orleans is playing good football right now. But on top of that, you play two really good teams in Buffalo and New England to close your season, and they're fighting for playoff seeding. So it's not like they're going to be resting guys either. It's going to be really tough sledding for them to get one more. I don't think they do. So for those worried about the draft, take a breath. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. The only game you can see is maybe week 18 against the Bills, because if they find a way to lock up, if they find a way to lock up a high playoff seed by then, maybe they just rest the starters. But at the same time, that's their last game at Highmark Stadium, and they hate the Jets. I think they're going to try to do everything they can to win that one final game and head out of that historic stadium on a high note.
I'm with you. You want to get to some phone calls? We got a couple people waiting on the line.
Yeah, let's do. You guys call into the show, pin comment at the top of the chat. Hit subscribe, free, helps us grow significantly. You guys can also throw your comments, your questions, your thoughts in the chat, and we will get to those as well. But yeah, let's head over to the phone lines, Matt.
Let's go out to a man who calls himself Santa Beast. What is going on? Rocking the Rangers hat like Connor. What? I gotta get my eye on
I've had minority years. I don't see any resemblance of next year, how next year's going to be, because 8 new players are going to have to be picked up on. First and foremost, Clemens is on his way out. Adams is on his way out. Sherwood, see ya. Don't need him. Don't want him. Should have never signed him to the contract in the first place. Sure, he's a one-hit wonder, but unfortunately, that one-hit wonder turned into a kabosh. But what I look at right now is let's keep our eyes on Mendoza and try and at least spend as much as we can, because next year, this is what I look at. We look at a new way of doing things. Instead of having $100 million next year, we're going to crank it to $350, because here's what we're going to do with the $3 billion. We get the 8 brand new players that we want. I want fresh guys. I want guys like, I'll give you an example. This right here, that's meat. I want meat like that on our boards. Hungry to kill. No more flipper. No more rusty bullshit. Time to say, man up, get some muscle in you, and start hitting the weights. Because starting next year, the bullshit comes to an end. The 15-year drought of getting our ass chewed out, getting kicked around like dog meat, and being pissed on by everybody, that's where there's no saying. The buck stops here. It's time you all are going to have to either put up or you're going to shut up. It's time for y'all to grow a back, grow a spine for once in your life. Do the right thing and grow a spine, because this team doesn't even have a spine. You know what they have? Loose, whatever the hell it is. It's time to say grow a spine. Start learning to play the game the right way. Like Herman Edwards once said, hello, you play to win the game. That's
right.
What we're trying to tell you boys. But let's look at it. Do you see any communication in that locker room? Let me ask you, Connor. No communication. Zero. You know why? Because everybody's different in that locker room. It's like this. I'll give you an example. Here's a balance beam. What do you see? Nothing. It's like this.
Stalemate. Yeah.
Like that. Nothing. No communication. Not even any work in the team. They're too different. They don't want to work together. It feels like they don't want to work together. It's because there's no communication. We need guys that have communication. Communication skills are not there. The team effort is not fully there. What I do want is one guy that I want next year. And you know who that one guy is? Will McDonald. I like him. What he did in Tampa this past year surprised me. He went and jumped, blocked the kick, took the ball, and right down to the end zone for a touchdown. How many other guys did you ever see do that? Let me ask you, how many other guys have you seen do that?
Not many. Are we going to see another Will McDonald sack this year?
No, he's been terrible.
Well,
Three,
well,
four. He's on a 5-game sackless streak.
Let's see what happens first, because these next 3 games, the Saints is maybe a 55-45. Patriots game, I don't think so. I don't see anything happening. I see the Patriots just doing this to us. Running us over with a tank. We're dead. We're dead to them. And when we go to Buffalo, you know what's going to happen to us? We're going to get crushed by a plot. But because look what Buffalo's got. They got talent, because I don't know how they do it, but they do spend the money wisely. And our boys, they basically can't spend the money wisely, because what are they doing? Spending it on one word, the 99-cent store. Let me ask you, Connor, how cheap is that?
It's pretty cheap, Beast.
That's weak. That's weak. It's time. Y'all need it's here these words. Y'all need to stop shopping at Baby Gap and the 99-cent store. That bullshit comes to a stop. Y'all want to start shopping better? Start doing it right. Spend the money wisely. $3 billion is enough. I got 2 guys that could do this job, and I know what I could do. I can hand them checkbooks out, and here's the deal. They cannot, and let me repeat, they cannot go over the $3 billion budget line, because what we're going to do, the ice baths are going to be installed. They have to be installed for several reasons. The players cannot get so badly banged up. Like, I'll give you an example. Half of the boys this year, have you seen how many bang-ups have you seen all the bang-ups we've had this year?
A couple.
Our boys got banged up like a freaking pinball game. Like, I'll give you an example. Ding, 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 bong, 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 bing, 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 bong, 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 bong.
Okay. I think that's a great description of what was happening in these games.
Yeah.
The ice baths. I've heard that one too many times. I had to we
know about
and
$3 billion.
And the $3 billion.
Well, we've learned that we can't go over. I mean, there was a world-changing revelation, Matt. We can't go over the $3 billion. It's hard capped.
Right? Hard capped at $3 billion. I think that's a fair number, though.
I would agree.
All right, let's go to Doug on the bed. Doug,
I always get screwed over getting put after Beast. I think this is some bull. Also, the language on him. Does he forget Connor's a child and has virgin ears and can't hear those kind of words? First thing on this channel, when we have someone under 18, there's children running this program, and he's cursing like that. Unbelievable, Matt. Am I right?
Unfortunate.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. I'm not like I never root for a loss, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be upset when they lose today. I just want them to cover the spread. Cover the spread, and I'd be happy.
Or just stay competitive, like last week's game.
No,
terrible.
Good teams. Good teams win. Great teams cover the spread. All right. Great teams cover the spread. So I just want to see them cover. Special teams touchdown guaranteed. Obviously, that's going to happen. We know it's
off the board last week.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have. Terrible reffing. Reffing so
also,
bad.
the broadcast crew messed up. They brought in Gene Steratore, and they didn't realize.
Yeah,
they didn't even realize that the penalty was not on Isaiah Davis; it was on Trey Brown.
Yeah.
So Steratore was doing the analysis on Isaiah Davis.
I
was like, "What is happening?" Yeah.
Either way, the reffing was just terrible, but it doesn't matter because we were so bad. But my God, the reffing right now is so bad in football; it's a joke.
It's insane. Yeah.
But also, for the Pro Tank crowd, I think the Titans are live today.
Ooh, okay.
They're playing the Chiefs. It's Minshew. A bunch of guys are out. McDuffie's out. A bunch of guys, like they got nothing to play for.
It's been a season from hell for the Chiefs.
Nothing to play for. You think those guys are going to give it a ton? Like they're not going to dog it, but you think they're going to give it 100%? They don't. They know the season's over. Guys are banged up. They're not going to go all out. I think the Titans are live.
And it's a home game. I thought the game was in Kansas City for some reason. I was
it's in Tennessee,
but that matters.
It's not. It's in Tennessee. I think the Titans are. If I had more money, which I don't really have right now, I'd sprinkle some Titans money line. That's how live I think they are.
Okay, I like that.
Because just all the surrounding. It's Minshew, no Rashee Rice. A bunch of guys are not playing. Just saying for the pro tank crowd, I think the Titans are very live. I might sound like an idiot for this, but
No, I don't think that's crazy.
I like it.
so and then they play the Saints next week, so that will fix out. I think we're gonna end up picking 2 or 3.
Ooh.
Because I
Two or
think
three.
the Titans are live. I think the Titans are live. I think we lose out. And I think then it just comes down to the Raiders-Giants game.
Is that crazy?
I also think the Giants are kind of sneaky live today too. Not as much
Minnesota,
as the
right?
Titans. They're playing the Vikings, yeah. Not as much as the Titans, but like I could see the Giants winning as well today too. And then they lose to the Raiders, and then boom, that's how we get to 1.
Oh, you're speaking my language, Doug.
That's
I
what
like
we
this.
need to happen. Because like everyone's saying, "Oh, the Giants are definitely going to win next week and lose it, fuck up the." Sorry, I forgot.
Children are watching.
I know. I'm an idiot. I apologize for that vulgar language, Connor. You shouldn't have to hear words like that.
It's all okay. My ears were covered.
But because you have Giants fans saying, "Oh, they're going to screw up and they're going to beat the Raiders and they're going to screw up the number 1 pick." What I think is going to happen, they're going to win this game, and then they're going to lose to the Raiders or beat the Raiders. No, yeah, they're going to win this game and lose to the Raiders.
The Raiders.
So they're going to win the game. People are not expecting them. Lose the game. People are expecting them to win. And then the Raiders, everyone will be 3-13. And I think at that point, we would have strength of schedule over.
They would. Yes.
Mhm.
So that's the path to 1.
Yeah.
I gave it to you.
It's possible. Doug, it's
No,
possible.
I think we're going to end up picking 3rd. Because again, I think the Titans are live. I think they're going to win today. Or I think they're going to win one of the next 2. I think they're going to win today, or I think they're going to win against the Saints. So
I hope you're right.
I like it.
So Titans are live. Like I said, I just want to see cover spread. I like AD Mitchell to score a touchdown because I have him in a touchdown scoring parlay. So that would be kind of nice if he could score a touchdown for me.
Wait, hold on. We don't have money to sprinkle on the
this is money.
but we
But
have
you know
a long
what?
touchdown
You know what?
parlay to put in.
You know what? I'll put the last dollar I have in my account on Titans money line right now.
And listen, I'm not unit shaming. You could put whatever. You could put
I'm
50
doing it.
cents
Hold
on
on,
it. But
hold
this
on.
is really a matter of principle. Doug.
You're right. You know what? You're right. Here we go. Titans money line. They're only plus 150, so a lot of people are betting on it. There we go. Just place the bet. The bet has been placed.
There we go. The slip is in.
The slip is in. Titans money line. There we go.
Now you're gonna be happy that you put it in when they pull off the upset today.
Yeah. I mean, it was at plus one.
Message.
It was at plus 150. So clearly, a lot of people are betting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that clearly moving down in that way, right?
I'll stay on for when we're about to get the ins and outs. Who do we think is inactive today?
Are they out yet?
They're
The
about
1 minute. 1 minute.
That's why I just said, Connor,
Yeah.
come on, you're supposed to be listening to the guest.
Yeah, he's gonna hang for another minute until they come out.
I thought you said let's get into the when you said ins and outs.
No, I said I'll hang out.
I thought you meant X's and O's.
I'll hang out for the inactives.
Okay, perfect. There we go. Nathan Shepard revenge game, by the way, today.
Yeah, I saw it.
Huh?
Brian Costello tweeted that, right?
Yeah. Last week it was a Chuma Adoga revenge game. This
I
week it's
forgot about Chuma Udoka.
he came in the game in the 4th quarter.
But and so did Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Zach getting bypassed by Quinn Ewers.
That's funny.
He's very upset about that too, by the way.
Yeah, I would like for AD Mitchell to score a touchdown. That would be pretty nice. I also took Tony Pollard to score one. So I feel good about the Titans today.
We're all over the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got it.
We do?
Yep, I'm gonna pull
I
it
guess
up.
one of the tight ends. No, actually, well, Mason Taylor's out because he's hurt. So Jelani Woods and probably and Stone Smart are both active. So
You are on the money. Hang on. StreamYard's taking a second to share this thing. You got Justin Fields, Kiko Mawangoa, Mazzie Smith, Peyton Page, Mason Taylor, and Eric Watson.
Justin Fields doesn't even use the QB. He has a little star next to him.
Yeah, pretty much chalk. Because they signed Page to the active roster on Thursday, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he wasn't just a practice squad elevation. Mazzie Smith was just a total throw-in, and then Quinn and Traden.
You know what I would do after this week? They won't do it because of just what the point is in the season. If for some reason Brady Cook gets hurt, I would start Hendon Hooker next week.
Same.
Hendon Hooker.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, God.
But I would make him the backup.
This is where we are.
I would make him the backup. What's the point? You know what you have in Tyrod and Fields. Make Tyrod
Yes.
the emergency third. What's
Yeah,
the point?
Tyrod's the backup, Ricard.
Yeah. Like, what's the point in having either of those guys act like Tyrod, have him be the emergency third quarterback, or just have him dress and be the third quarterback?
Yeah, and I see people in the chat wondering, Hendon Hooker is not active today.
No, he's in the
he's still in the
P
practice
squad. You'd have
Yeah.
to elevate him, and if you elevate him, you have to make him active. So
Yeah.
So what's the point? But no, I like it. You bring him in at the end of the season, then you sign him to a future reserve contract. So then you have him and Brady Cook as the guys to throw during OTAs.
What a preseason battle that's going to be.
Imagine like Malik Willis, Hendon Hooker, and
Hey, I thought Malik Willis played well last night.
Dude, he played.
play
I
okay.
like Malik Willis. Like,
By the
in a
way,
situation
sorry,
now where he could succeed.
I disagree with you, Connor, on the take that this QB class is worse than last year.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I think you only had one guy last year, and that was Cam Ward. Cam Ward. Like,
I disagree.
well, Shador Sanders, like, I don't think so good. Dylan Gabriel, we saw bad. Shuck's been good, but I think there's better guys in this class, and I still think like for a guy who is falling down from boards, but I think could be a good like second round or third round pick. I think Nussmeier would be a good day 2 or day 3 pick.
I don't see it with Nussmeier personally, and look, I think it all comes down to how we individually evaluate quarterbacks, and I think a lot of it has to do with how high are you on Mendoza, how high are you on Simpson, because those are the big names, those are the guys who are going to be headlining this class. The thing I liked about last year is you could get guys on day 2, day 3 with solid upside and can contribute for you.
But Dylan Gabriel looked booty cheeks. So
I never liked Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I think
Shuck's
forget about Jackson Dart as well. Jackson Dart.
He was a day 1 pick. So that's not day 2.
Yeah. The end of round 1. I don't think there's like a.
I think I might be wrong. I think Mendoza and Moore will have better careers than any of the guys taken last year.
That's not crazy. I like Dante Moore. I just think he's a project.
I probably have to sit.
But he's already done that, so he wouldn't have a problem. Like, he did that in college. I don't think he's the person who's gonna have a problem with that in the NFL.
No, I don't think he will either.
I like the Ty Simpson one. He's one I don't want either. I'm in the position right now where I know it's like hard to get. I want with the first pick. If we pick third, say we pick third, I want BPBA there. I do not want to trade up, and then I want you to take. I want to take the quarterback with the second first round pick.
Okay.
So say that's like 13 or 14.
Who's falling to 13 or 4? I don't think. I mean, I think
I don't know. But my point is, I don't want them to trade up. I want them. I'm not saying don't take the quarterback. Honestly, if it was up to me, I would do the two first round picks. Do what the Saints did this past year. Obviously, they didn't have 2 first round picks. Take the 2 best players on your board at those spots. So say at 3, it's Arvell Reese. That's the guy they love. Boom. Be happy. I think everyone would be happy with that. At 14, it's one of the receivers who are like Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, whichever receiver you love the most. Round 2, with one of your 2 round 2 picks, I'd take a quarterback.
Ty Simpson round 2.
If Ty Simpson falls, like I think a lot of people would be okay with that, wouldn't you? Because
I also like John Mateer. I think a lot of people.
No, Mateer was bad. Mateer's bad.
I think a lot of people are obsessing over his performance in college. I like the traits that he has. He's someone who I think could be developed in a week, not a round 1 guy, but in a weak QB class. He's someone you can nab on day 2.
But my point is though, with the second round picks is say they're okay. Like so like you do like Shuck. Like Shuck has been good, like not great, but like say you do round 2. You pick a guy, but that doesn't lock you into next year. And then you had the 3 first round picks. And if you love one of the guys next year, you can take one of the guys next year. So that's why I'm with get the 2 best players with what are going to be 2 top 15 picks most likely. Get the 2 best players available to help your team because God knows this team needs help.
Big deal.
So get like an Arvell Reese or just a stud or a Reuben Bain. I know people are worried about his arms, but like look what he did yesterday.
I mean he's someone who people could look at the sack numbers, Doug, and be like, how is this guy? But then when you see how he plays and the amount of pressures that he has,
But I think I would take Arvell Reese over Bain personally, just because of like everything he can do. But so pick 3, you take Arvell Reese. Pick 14, like I said, pick the best receiver on the board that you like. Like so, which would be Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, and then next year, if you suck, I'm not saying we're gonna suck again, but like you take the quarterback round 2, and then take like a safety with the other second round pick. Next year,
then that gives you next year to go round 1 quarterback if the round 2 quarterback doesn't work.
Yeah, and you don't know where any of the picks are going to ball. I don't think the Colts are going to be very good next year. How do we know we don't get a Panther situation and we just get the one overall, and it's not our pick? And like
that's best case scenario, right?
Because we don't know and we have to remember we get the Packers or the Cowboys pick, whichever is the better one. So like, who knows? And no Micah Parsons for most of next year for the Packers, so they're not going to be as good. So we just don't know what things are going to happen. We could have a situation, and like, say we have a Panthers situation where we get the first overall pick from just the other pick, and then the Jets pick is like 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's an interesting. It's food for thought, certainly.
But yeah, cover the spread. Let's get an AD Mitchell touchdown. Let's go root for the Titans.
Go Titans, baby. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
I want to pull up this comment from Indie Jets before we get back to the calls. Congrats on the Fox appearance. Rockstar talking about our guy Connor Long. Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, first off, thank you, Indie. I appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you being a member for 6 months. So yeah, me and my friend Josh got invited. Fox 5 News. We were on. Hopefully, I get the day right. I think Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. In the studio, we did an interview about our Nets podcast. Super fun. Great to be there. Always fun when you get an opportunity to be on TV. So shout out to you, Indy. Thank you for the support. And yeah, guys, appreciate it.
That's awesome. Great stuff. Love
Thank
to
you,
see
man.
that.
Thank you.
We'll keep it rolling with the calls. 04 Jets fans up next.
How you guys doing today?
Doing
Doing
good.
well.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to play off what the previous caller was talking about. I do agree with him. If the price is too steep, don't trade up. I'm not really wanting to give up any of the first round picks next year. I think we are going to end up with that 3 or 4 pick. So Lord knows what that's going to cost us to go up to 1, because that's where Mendoza's going. He's my quarterback this year. If you get a quarterback, I want Mendoza in the first round.
It depends on it depends on where the Jets are picking on the trade up spot, right? Like you said, if it's 3, that's going to be cheaper. Not cheap, but cheaper than where you are.
Yeah.
Compared to 5 or 6. Like
Exactly.
a lot of it depends on who are the teams picking ahead of the Jets. I think a dream situation that the Jets want to be in is them picking 3 behind the Giants and the Titans, because
Yes.
look, people are gonna say, "Oh, Cam Ward hasn't been that great." Sure, but they are not taking a quarterback in the top 3 when they just took Cam Ward by the same exact regime a year ago, number 1 overall. That's
No, they're not.
Because then you're gonna have your pick of the crop at the quarterback position without having to give up anything. So that's like a scenario for the Jets. And look, it's not that far-fetched. As Doug mentioned, the Titans can win today. And in that case, they'd be 3-12. Where the Jets lost, they'd be 3-12 as well. The Jets have the strength of schedule tiebreaker over the Titans. And then the Browns have the strength of schedule tiebreaker over the Jets. So if everything goes their way with strength of schedule tiebreakers, the Jets could be slotted at number 1 by the end of today. Still very highly unlikely. But again, picking 3rd overall in April, a dream scenario, and isn't that far-fetched.
Yeah. Now, a name that not a lot of people are talking about right now, and a name I've watched a lot of this year, is Trinidad Chambliss.
Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Listen, he's got 2 years starting at the Division II level, or a half a year starting and a full year starting at Division II level, and won a national championship already once with I can't remember the name of the college. It's something with an F at the Division II level.
Okay.
He's a proven champion. Ferris State, there you go. And then what he did this year. Could you imagine if he'd have started all 12 games for Ole Miss this year, what his stats would be like? He's mobile. He's got a live arm. And he doesn't make a whole lot of stupid decisions. So I think he's going to go in the mid-second round, early second round. But the only thing that hinges on is if his waiver for another year doesn't get approved.
Also, he's a little older, which I think is something to note. He's 23, so he's on the older side, I think you could say, compared to the quarterbacks like Mendoza, guys like Simpson and Moore, who are really early.
He is, but for me, the age thing, it plays a factor, but it's not a huge factor.
I just get a little weary of drafting someone who has only started a handful of games at the Division I level. Like I like him. I just view him as a player with a low ceiling in the NFL. I think he's someone who is going to need a lot of development. Not to say that that's any different from Ty Simpson and Dante Moore. It's just kind of a personal thing because I would rather take a quarterback with 15 starts who played in the SEC with Alabama or played at Oregon compared to someone who played at the Division II level for 3 years and is kind of just getting his toes dipped in the water at Division I. In Lane Kiffin's system, which I was very vocal on last year, Matt, is very quarterback friendly, and that's the reason I wanted to stay away from Jackson Dart. So, look, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying it's a little concerning for me.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why I said take him in the second round.
Yeah,
that's why you don't take him in the first. And like Matt said, like everybody said, if we take quarterback in the second round, how's that stop us from say taking Julian Sayin next year, first overall, if he comes out?
Right. Like if you're trading up for Fernando Mendoza, obviously you're not then turning around and taking a quarterback next year. You're trying
exactly.
But if you start, whoever you take in round 2 or 3 for 6 games and he doesn't look like the guy, then no one's going to care if you take someone in the first round in 2027.
Exactly. Now, I want to see us end up with Tate. I don't care how, but I want to see us end up with Carnell Tate. That dude is unbelievably talented as a route runner. He's got hands that just good luck getting the ball out of them. I don't think I've seen I'm a Ohio State guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm a diehard Buckeye. I've not seen him a contact drop all year.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, man. This season was just so disappointing. Like, I thought Justin was going to have a little more than what he did. I didn't think he was going to be the answer, but I thought he was going to be, he's the proof of concept guy. Like, this system works. Let's go find the quarterback.
Yeah, and just unfortunately wasn't there. He was worse than what we all were kind of hoping and expecting.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, man. Enjoy the game.
Yes, sir.
Love it. Good call. And laid out a good point. If the Jets don't go quarterback first round, what a plan could look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And every single week, Matt, I keep getting more and more frustrated. We saw it last week. Unfortunately, it was called back, but Jets special teams unit is incredible, they're just wasting it. Fully just flat out wasting it. Listen to this stat that I found the other day. So the Jets lead the NFL 10.8% special teams DVOA. They have a wider gap over the third place Indianapolis Colts at 4.8% than the Colts hold over the 20th ranked Carolina Panthers. So that is how good the Jets special teams has been, that they have that wide of a gap over the number 3 team than the number 3 team has over the number 20 team. And they're wasting it. Every single week it's wasted.
They just keep wasting it. All right, let's keep the calls rolling. Our guy Kyle Clifton's up next. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, fellas? You've heard of the must-win game.
Yes.
This is the must-lose game.
Feel you on that.
So, you guys are talking about the special teams, and like, I didn't think that they played particularly well last week. That they had definitely, I think, at least one return that was good, but like they weren't covering kicks like they ordinarily do. They don't have a chance to win unless special teams is playing, at the top of their game.
Well, they don't have a win really this year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, they've proven it that, they have to pack their special teams, and special teams has to have significant impact for them to have a chance in the game. So that means we got bigger problems than we realized, to me. Even if we aren't able to go up and get a quarterback, even if the brass thinks that there's not a guy worth trading up for in this class, I feel like it's important to stay low with that first pick. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of first round quality players in this draft. I feel like it drops off around 19 or 20. So if we stay where we are,
Yeah.
5-18, and say we don't feel like it's worth it to go up and get a quarterback, I think we can get 2 quality starters picking where we pick, but I wouldn't think we'd want to go back unless the price was maybe a first round pick next year, right? That would be maybe the one exception where we might entertain going back. But some of our needs are kind of non-premium type positions like linebacker, interior offensive line, stuff like that, where you might be able to get some guys in the top 20 of this draft. And let's just see if that kind of plays out and we get some luck for once and we're able to do that. But it starts today.
Yeah.
I want to see a concerted lack of effort. I want to see concerted, lackadaisical play. I want to see lack of attention to detail. I know they can do it.
We've seen it how many times already, right? Like
We've
now
seen
it's
it.
not the
We've
time
seen
to
it for
put the
15
switch.
weeks now. What is another game at this rate?
Yeah, I'll probably be watching CYO basketball for the first half, but I'll tune in for the second half. Enjoy the game, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Kyle.
you, Kyle.
I love that. That's so
Kyle's such a great fan too, and it's like it's gotten so
it
bad.
sucks that's the mindset for most of the fan base, right?
Yeah, it's like I'll turn the game on whenever I want. Like that's what it's like. I mean, for me personally, I know there are a lot of fans. I'm not Kyle at all, but there are some fans who the team will play so bad and will be like, "Oh, I'm just not gonna watch them anymore." And then a week back, they turn on the television.
We're right back in.
Yeah, I don't take that approach. I just admit that this team, I'm a sicko, and this team has me bought in no matter what they do.
We can't quit. We're at
yeah.
it.
We're already in. I saw someone in the chat trying to poach me over to the Bills. Absolutely not. If I ever were to switch teams, it would not be in the AFC East, and obviously that's not even a possibility. So
We're not switching teams, Scott. We are diehards over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think a whole generation has grown up without the playoffs.
I know. I say it all the time, we doing the show with you because it was very different when I was your age. The Jets were not that they, won a Super Bowl, but of playoff seasons I remember 2004, 06, 9, 10. They were good in 2008 before the Favre injury. 2011, even they didn't make the playoffs, but they're 8-5 with 3 games to go. I saw a lot of above average football, at least, and that is no longer the case for this team.
It's hard for me to say this team will make the playoffs before I turn 18. It's hard for me to say that.
that really sucks.
Oh my God.
Let's keep the calls rolling. Our guy JJ's been waiting a while. He popped back in. What's going on, JJ?
Yo, what's up, my friends? How are y'all doing?
Doing well.
good.
I wanted to show you guys my view. I got lucky, so can you guys see that?
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Go, baby. You going
Yeah,
in?
man. I actually just bought my tickets now because I'm cheap and I wanted to get the best seats I could for the cheapest amount. So I just got section 100 for like $30. Thank the Lord. Yesterday when I checked into the hotel, the lady was from New York and she was like, "Oh, you going to the game tomorrow? I'm gonna hook you guys up. I'm gonna give you a corner view." I didn't know what that meant. And then I get into my room last night and like this thing is like lit up and I'm like, what the heck? This is a amazing hotel. So my wife grew up a Saints fan. So I took her to the game. Well, I'm taking her to the game. And I told her if the Saints win, I will be very happy. So this will be the first time she can root for a different team in front of me. Because
all okay, and you, like you said, you'd be totally fine if the Saints win today.
Yep, we need the Jets to lose, but I disagree with you guys. Though I'm not going to root for this team for the rest of my life. If under one condition, if we end up having a 21-year playout drop, yeah, I'm gonna stop being a Jets fan. I can't go 21 years. Like year 20, once we get to year 20. And we still haven't made the playoffs, that would be my last season. I'll give them one more chance. And then if we go 21 seasons without making the playoffs, there's no reason for anybody to still be a Jets fan. There would be no, I can't do that. That would be the worst thing imaginable. 21. So we're at 15 now. I think we'll probably give it a year or two with this regime. And we'll see if they can, end the drought. But 21, imagine going 21 seasons without making the playoffs and then still being able to wear all this in a different city and not get laughed at.
No, I get it, dude. And we can't lose JJ. We got to get this team in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I spend it's obnoxious how much money I spend on this stupid team for us to go this long without making it to the playoffs. I believe in Aaron Glenn, though, only for the simple fact that I think we've witnessed him get better over time in terms of the way he talks to the media, in terms of the way he coaches up the team, the preparation. Like usually, our first drive usually looks good. The defense has been horrible, and he finally, fired Steve Wilkes. So we're seeing him actually hold people accountable, which is something we didn't see with Robert Saleh. I mean, you look at that first year under Saleh with Jeff Ulbrich, and that defense was atrocious, and he doubled down on him and he kept him in. And to his credit, maybe, the defense got better. But then if you look at the offensive side of the ball with LaFleur, after that first year, I don't think it got significantly better. And albeit, with better quarterbacks, it did look slightly better, but I don't know. I think with Aaron Glenn, it looks like he's the type of guy to look himself in the mirror and hold himself accountable and be like, I messed up here. I'll own up to it. I'm not going to double down on my mistakes. I'm going to, I want to win. So.
Yeah, I hope you're right on that. Seriously, that's super important for the Jets to turn this thing around. Aaron Glenn's got to be the guy.
Yep, I hope so. So, and how do you guys feel about I actually want to see Dante Moore and what's his name? Mendoza go head to head. I'm hoping both of them win their next game and then actually have to play each other in the playoffs. And I think that will give us a better opportunity to look at both of them right there and then and say, okay, this is who we should be going for. Because in a perfect world, we get the 3rd overall pick and we don't even have to trade up because Dante Moore is the consensus number 2, but we like him and we know that, he's our guy. We keep all those draft picks and I mean, we'll be cooking with hot grease then.
Yeah, no, and next week you got, or next time they play Alabama, Indiana. So that's one, Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza. And
Ty Simpson is not it for me. That guy John Mateer from the other school, he looked like a mini Josh Allen out there. Like
I like him.
I like him too. He looked way better than Ty Simpson in my opinion. So I'm already off Ty Simpson. I'm looking at Dante Moore or Mendoza, but that's just my, JJ knows nothing, as everyone says. So who cares, right?
Come on, I wouldn't go that far.
No, read the comments.
JJ, enjoy the game today, my friend.
Thank you.
Love it. Awesome view. How about that? What a hotel setup.
I'm happy that there are Jet fans traveling to games in week 16 when the team is 3-11.
Yeah, my cousin, who is a Jets fan that lives in Georgia. Don't ask how that happened, but drove to New Orleans, which I think is like 7 hours away to go to this game.
Oh my!
I said, you're crazy. I don't know why he did it, but shout out Brandon for going.
New Orleans is a cool city, but still week 16, 7 hours. That's dedication, man.
It really is. You want to do some bold predictions before we close out this show here?
Yes. Refresh me on what mine was last week.
You were close. Brady Cook over 200 passes.
Oh, I remember because I was in garbage time. I was monitoring that. And I did come close. What did he finish with? Like 170, something like that. Something along those lines. 176. Okay. So I wasn't that far off. I'll let you take it away first.
Okay.
And what was yours last week, by the way?
Mine was blocked punt. We did not get a blocked punt.
You could have came close when they punted out the end zone. That could have been a block, but they dropped too many guys back.
I was hoping. I was praying in that spot. For me this week, I'm gonna go with a weird one. I'll say Andrew Beck touchdown.
I think I picked that one of my weeks. So that's an interesting take. I'm going to stay. I think that's a good take because we saw him get involved. I think the most we've really seen him all year last game, the receiving game, out of the backfield as well. So that's intriguing. I'll say something defensively. I'll say Jamian Sherwood has a sack.
Sherwood sack. We didn't have it in us to predict an interception. I did that a few times. Still not doing it though. No. Not even if with the coordinator change, it's been a hot talking point that the Jets, they're going to get their first interception today. Not buying it. Got to prove it to me.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting game, Matt, and it's great to do the show with you every week, despite how bad the team is. We only got 2 left though.
Only 2 more after this, and we're wrapping it up for another year. You want to give a score before we close it?
a score. Give me New Orleans 24, New York 17.
Okay. I'm gonna go 24-13. So similar scoring, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what I had it in my preview video. I think they keep them under 25, which is a slight win, but I don't think the Jets get up to 17 points this week. I think they get one touchdown, two field, 13.
Love it. Great show as always, man.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us. Leave a like before you go. Subscribe to the channels. We'll be back next week to give a preview for Jets Pats. But for now, I'm Matt. He's Connor. We'll catch you next time.